Miles is a fantastic motocross rider, and today he's in a race. But when the chain on his bike snaps, he loses part of the race and feels really mad and upset. He sees the winner celebrating. Miles and his dad, Chuck, go up to the winner, Sam, to ask for a spare chain because they're pretty broke. Sam tries to help, but his dad is super rude and refuses. Miles and Chuck feel really down, but then a girl named Sarah steals the chain and gives it to them. They quickly fix the bike and get ready for the next race. Everyone races really well, with Sam in the lead and Miles close behind. It seems like it's going to end in a tie, but Miles manages to pull ahead and win. Sam congratulates him and invites him to a party, but Miles says no. Chuck tells him to go, saying it'll help him meet people in the motocross world. Meanwhile, in the lab, one of the dogs, Axel, has escaped. The scientist, Andrik, sends a team to find the robot dog as it roams the city. Later, Miles goes to Sam's party, but he's not having much fun. He watches as Sam and his friends use a blowtorch to torch a wrecked car, laughing and filming it. Miles decides to explore the house and checks out Sam's bikes. He runs into Sarah, and they have a good chat. Back home, Miles complains to his dad about not being able to be a top racer because he lacks resources. One day, Sam invites Miles to a ranch to practice riding. While Miles isn't paying attention, Sam's pals tamper with his fuel tank. Miles heads out confidently on his bike, unaware of the tampering. Suddenly, his bike breaks down, causing a nasty accident. To top it off, Sam and his crew record the crash and abandon Miles. After cleaning out the bad stuff from his tank and refueling, Miles tries to start his bike, but it won't cooperate. While pondering his next move, he hears a noise from a nearby old container. Surprisingly, he finds Axel, a robotic dog. At first, Miles is scared and tries to leave, but Axel tags along. Scared stiff, Miles keeps going until Axel gets hurt. Feeling guilty, Miles goes back to help and discovers Axel is about to blow up. In a moment of empathy, Miles stops the countdown and saves Axel. Later, Axel links to Miles's phone, and he learns to repair him. The next day, Sam and his gang make a nasty video about Miles, but Sarah steps in and demands to know where he is. Meanwhile, Miles kept fixing Axel while they were at the ranch. When he was done, he took off the muzzle and found out Axel had weapons inside. But Axel didn't hurt Miles, they just hung out together. Sadly, being out too much made the Crane Systems folks spot them. Agent Berman was about to wipe Axel's system, but Andrik halted him, curious about Axel's interactions with a human, so he picked Miles for testing. Meanwhile, Sarah showed up at the ranch searching for Miles. Axel saw her first and almost went after her. Miles stopped him, saying Sarah's a pal. Axel chilled out, his eyes turning blue. Later, Miles and Sarah talked about what to do with Axel. Sarah wanted to take him back, but Miles noticed the bullet holes, showing Axel hadn't been treated well. After their chat, they danced, clearly in love. This was watched in the lab. Berman thought they should reward Miles and Sarah and take Axel because they were broke. But Andrik said Axel was getting smart from hanging with humans, so they'd keep watching. Next morning, Miles and Sarah covered Axel and took him along. At a gas station, Axel hacked the system, getting free gas and cash from the ATM. Joanna, Sarah's mom, wants to know where her daughter is. Sarah's in an old building, doing some graffiti, with Axel watching her draw. Axel's keen on tracking her designs, each one with different hand movements. Then, the dog shows them a video about himself by Crane Systems. They figure out Axel was made as a weapon for killing people in war. Axel gives Miles a biometric gadget to touch, which links them together for good. Meanwhile, Sam shows up at the old building and gets aggressive. Sarah faces him, and Miles sets Axel loose to back up his partner. The dog's all set to defend them, but Miles tells him not to attack, and Sam takes off. Andrik's pleased that the dog listens so well to Miles, but Berman points out that Miles could have used Axel to harm Sam. Sarah's mad at Miles because her mom, Joanna, works for Sam's family, and this could cause trouble for them. She thinks it's best to tell an adult what happened. They leave Axel there and decide to tell Miles's dad. Sam and his buddies come back, ready to take on Axel. But when the dog sees Sam, it doesn't attack because Miles already told it not to. Sam pours fuel on the ground and lures the dog over, while telling his friends to live stream what he's about to do. Sam holds up his flamethrower. Meanwhile, the guys are at Chuck's place spilling the beans to him. Sarah agrees to give Axel back to the military. Suddenly, Sarah sees the live video of Sam and figures out what's going down. She and Miles rush out but forget to grab the fingerprint scanner. At the deserted house, Sam torches Axel until he's fried and shuts down. The two scientists, watching everything, can only scream at the screen in horror. The pair arrives to find Axel totally toasted and wrecked, but they manage to revive him and load him into a truck. Meanwhile, a government agent barges into Chuck's place, flashes a gun, and grills him about Miles. Chuck spots the fingerprint scanner Miles left on the table. The agent searches the garage, but Chuck confronts him with a bow and tells him to drop the gun. Andrik freaks out seeing things go haywire. Berman sneakily shoots an email to Captain Weber. Miles and Sarah take Axel to a 3D printing spot, where they design and print the parts to fix his busted body in cables. Axel sends a message that he's been patched up and the reboot will take under 3 hours. While they wait for the reboot, the kids hug and chill now that Axel is up and running. Andrik finds him and sends more agents to get him. Miles and Sarah dodge the agents, and when they're about to nab Axel, he reboots and knocks them out with the couple's help. Axel checks his memory and heads to take out Sam while Miles and Sarah tag along to stop him. Sam and his buddies are hanging out at a caravan festival, having a good time with parties and bonfires. Suddenly, Axel shows up and freaks everyone out, but he's only interested in Sam. Just when things get heated between Sam and Axel, Miles and Sarah show up and see them going at it. Sam tries to blast Axel with a flamethrower, but it conks out. Miles steps up to stop Axel, but then a bunch of drones swoop in and attack him. Andrik watches as the drones zap Axel with electric shocks. Government agents come in to muzzle Axel and take him, along with Sam and Sarah, to some lab. Andrik demands that Miles hand over some biometric key, but Miles argues that Axel is a living being who needs help to survive. Andrik won't hear it, though. He's convinced Axel's just a machine. When Miles refuses to give him the key, Andrik traps Sarah in a laser cage, thinking Axel will go after her if she tries to escape. But Sarah uses the laser to make some graffiti art, showing she'd made it in some old house. A robot dog sees her moves and knows she's a friend. Then Axel turns on Andrik and Berman, sending them running. But they don't get far before the military catches them. Andrik gets busted because Berman spilled the beans. Meanwhile, Sarah decides to peace out, but Miles and the robot dog make a break from the agents. The agents chase after Miles and Axel across a field. They both tumble off a cliff, and Miles gets banged up. The robot dog checks him out and sees his arms busted. It tries to help, but Miles tells it to scram. Axel bolts, but a bunch of drones take it down before blowing themselves up. Axel bids farewell to Miles affectionately. Foreign accuses Andrik of sharing Axel's codes on the shady side of the internet. Meanwhile, Miles and Sarah opt to enroll in the art school together. Captain Weber assures them they'll reconstruct Axel soon and be responsible for managing it. In the closing scene, Miles activates the biometric scanner. To their astonishment, both he and his girlfriend receive messages from Axel on their phones. They grin, suggesting the dog persists in digital form. Turn on alerts, like, and subscribe for more videos similar to this one. Thank you for watching.